What is up, guys? Welcome to the Transparency Idaho4. Today's episode, Monday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard. It's been October 20th all day. Can you guys hear me okay? This is going to rock your fucking boxes, okay? Get ready to jam out with your clam out, rock out with your cock out. This is insane. This is insane. Well, today I put in 6 ISP FOIA requests. 6. 6 of those. Idaho State Police has told me since July that they will get me the lab reports. And where's my lab reports? They said, well, we're just actually going to put them out publicly. So hang tight. We're just going to post them all publicly. Oh, are you? Okay. Yeah, it's fucking almost Halloween. So I'm going to dress up for Halloween as Bill Thompson and demand and fly to Idaho and just get my own fucking exhibits. So we'll see. We'll see what's going on. We'll see what's up. I found out who Connor Chestnut is. So I have I've narrowed it completely down. I have a profile on who every single person is that is listed and that would have come up in the trial. There is not a question mark on who somebody is with every witness, with the exception of I have not deep dived. I was looking more at the state. This lovely case that they said that they have against Bryan Kohberger. Whew. Okay. Where to begin? Well, jeez. Okay. All right. Looking over all of the wounds suffered on each and every victim. Okay. Darren Gilbertson says on 11/21/2022, which is like a week after the murder. So 11/13, then fast forward a week, and here we go. Gilbertson's like, hey, I want to take you, Payne, and Talbot, and myself, and we're going to go to the house, okay, and we're going to do some trial runs. What do you mean? Well, we're going to do a timed run to see how long it would take to kill 4 people. On 11/21/2022, a week after the murder. Why would that be so important to do? Is it you're trying to see if one person could do it? Because on 11/21, what do you know at that point? It's a weekend. As far as I'm concerned, they don't know anything. But listen to this report. I'm going to remind you guys, and then I'm going to remind us of the text messages between Dylan and Bethany. It is 100% now proven to me based off of the exhibits and the way that they went and obtained Cole's and Jack Showalter's DNA / the way that they talked to these 2 individuals and conducted themselves, and I'm talking about Idaho State Police, is that they believe that those 2 could have done this crime together. Okay. No doubt about it. They thought that these 2 are friends, and then there was another person that they thought that Jack Showalter could have done this with, and that's Connor Chestnut. Based on who Connor Chestnut is and was, and with he was in the same fraternity that Jack Showalter was in. Okay, hoodie guy. So, and they thought that early on. Like, so then why are you doing a timed run to see how long it would take one person to do this? I sense that Detective Gilbertson was having a little bit of an issue with what Dylan and Bethany were saying. No doubt about it. I'll tell you why. He says, based upon the processing of the crime scene and evidence collected, investigators believed, and then they basically he left this blank. And I don't know what he had before it said Kohberger. And I'm confident in saying that because Detective Gilbertson did not type up this report until July 26th, 2023. But he did this on November 21st, 2022. You were supposed to write your reports at the end of your shift. If you have to maybe do a report the next day, I mean, you're supposed to get that approved from your supervisor. Every single report that they were writing up is just extremely, extremely way after the fact. So how in the world would you remember everything that you did at this timed runs with these individuals, Payne and Talbot, if you didn't write it down? Because if you didn't type this up until, I don't know, 9 months later, how can you literally remember it like it was yesterday to be able to be so detailed like this? Okay, so the purpose of the timed runs was to gain an understanding of the approximate time needed to have carried out the murders. Why would that be important? Why did you need... The purpose of the time runs was to gain an understanding of the approximate time needed to have carried out the murders. You're not mentioning one person, so if it was more than one person, okay. The way that the report is written up as well is on November 21st, 2022, Idaho State Police Sergeant Darren Gilbertson conducted time runs through the residence at 1122 King Road. Kaylee, Maddie, Xana, and Ethan were murdered there during the early morning hours on November 13th, 2022. Bryan C. Kohberger, and then in parentheses, Kohberger, was subsequently arrested and charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder. Well, that didn't happen yet. So on November 21st, 2022, when you did this, there was nobody. Okay. So I don't even think that sentence should be there. The purpose of the timed runs was to gain an understanding of the approximate time needed to have carried out the murders. Well, you didn't do the time runs after you arrested somebody. Okay. So that's misleading. I was assigned and worked as the lead investigator for the Idaho State Police in assisting the Moscow Police Department with the multiple homicides. Based upon the processing of the crime scene. Well, you guys kept going back in processing the crime scene. So on 11/21, you weren't done processing the crime scene. In fact, 11/21, you guys had just obtained to be able to do the geofence and, oh, hey, we want to get, oh, whose number is that? And oh, wait, whose number is that? Oh, okay, let's like pen trap trace shit. Okay, awesome. So investigators believe that Kohberger drove to the area and parked at the back of the residence. Well, keyword is they're believed, and that's not accurate. Nobody parked behind the residence. Okay. There is a paved parking area directly to the south that overlooks the back of the residence. Kohberger most likely entered the residence through the sliding glass door located on the second level and rear of the residence and then proceeded as follows. Now, on 11/21, you most certainly have the statements of Dylan Mortensen, Bethany, and you would have the phones of the deceased if you got into them, as well as Bethany, Dylan's phones. There is something called health data. Okay. So you would have their cell phones. So when you're going to say based upon the processing of the crime scene and evidence collected, nothing about witness testimony. You also collected, and now insert email from the FBI was provided on 11/19 and 11/21, provided footage from 1112 King Road and asked if he could get a make and model. And he said that the blooming light, so no, and then like leaving when the car like left. So I can tell you that 100% on November 21st, when they did this, they most certainly were already onto that time frame of the car coming at 4:05 or 4:06 and then leaving at the 4:20 and 47 seconds. And how we can determine that is based off of Immel's report, which is really important. Okay. So you would have 1112, and you're looking at that 4:05 time frame to then the 4:20 and some change of the car leaving. You also have the DoorDash driver, but you don't know about the DoorDash driver yet because there's cars that come before the 4:05. There was the 4:01 or 3:58, 3:56 car that leaves at 3:58. But before that, there's the 3:45 car, which is the DoorDash driver. Then if you're truly watching the 1112 King Road camera, you're going to see the woman, aka Molly, right? Just walking, right? Okay. So all of these things you would be taking into account with when you think that this went down. But I would hope to God, if you're believing Bethany and Dylan, you have to be taking their statements into account, right? Because otherwise you can place, well, Maddie and Kaylee were still alive, and the last time that they were alive was at the grub truck. Then they get, driven home and they get dropped off. So you could actually back up your whole little timeline of when this could have occurred. Is you could back it all the way up to 2:00. Okay. Unless you can get some proof of life with, I don't know, pictures of people. Yep, here's a picture of us. We're all together. Okay, that'll work. Well, you have Jack D saying in an interview, I don't remember having a conversation with her for 17 minutes. So that would go out. Okay, so when's the last time that you can truly say that Kaylee was alive other than just one person? So this is where everybody should be like, holy shit. Okay. Gilbertson says, after entering through the sliding glass door, Kohberger walked through the kitchen area and to a set of stairs that led up to the third floor. Then says, Kohberger then went up the stairs to the third floor. At the top of the stairs and directly to the left, as we now know, that would be where Kaylee's door was, her bedroom door. And to the right is the short little hallway, and then that's Maddie's room. Okay. And Gilbertson says, most likely, Kohberger checked Kaylee's bedroom. Why are you even mentioning that? Most likely he checked Kaylee's bedroom? Well, I need to back up, because then when he came in, why wouldn't he check, I don't know, Dylan's bedroom, the bedroom that's right there when you're entering from the back of the house, and it's boom, Dylan's bedroom is right there. Also, if you believe Dylan, she's saying that when Kaylee went upstairs, right? Kaylee goes upstairs and she says, yep, Kaylee had just basically finished dancing with Murphy, and then she goes upstairs, and that's when I went to bed, and it was around 4, and then she goes upstairs and she says in a frightening voice, there's someone here, right? And Dylan said, I have no idea how this person got in, making it seem like, dude, we were out in the living room, basically. I would have seen if somebody came in and went upstairs, because I wasn't like in my room and not available to see that. Okay. So he says most likely Kohberger checked Kaylee's room, saw it was empty, and then moved into Mogan's bedroom where we believe both Kaylee and Maddie were asleep. You want to know what I would expect to see right there? If you want to bolster this claim, you would say something like this. We believe that they were asleep because neither one of their phones had been used since 3:07 a.m. The phones have no health data steps after, 2:57. You get what I'm saying? Like, there are ways to bolster that "we believe" comment. Why is there no reference right there about anybody's cell phone, meaning Maddie's or Kaylee's? You could bolster it and say, we believe that they were asleep because neither one of them had used their device. Their device hadn't been used since, this time. Next. Also, now that we have more information, we can speak to this. Maddie's phone was next to her on that table that's next to her bed. And then Kaylee's phone was actually in the bed with her in bed. Then he says, Kohberger murdered both of them in the bed. Okay. Question. Why do you think that they were asleep is number one. Question number two. Why do you think this in terms of that Dylan said Kaylee went to bed at 4 a.m. So then she went to bed, heard her say someone was here, and she runs down the stairs. Do you not believe that? Gilbertson's basically saying, I don't believe it. I don't believe that. So do you not believe Dylan? Did you ask Dylan, hey, did you physically see Kaylee? Why did you ever think it was Kaylee in the first place? Why her, listen to what she says to Noonans and to Mowry. She says, because Kaylee went to bed at 4, and she also said that she never saw Xana and Ethan come home. She never saw them. Just like Bethany says that she never saw them. Okay. So Kohberger then most likely went back down the stairs, walked through the second floor living room, and then down the hallway, which ended at Xana's bedroom. Okay. If you think that he walked upstairs and looked into Kaylee's room, okay, and then he goes into the next bedroom, okay, so you think that he knew nobody's in that bedroom, but there's supposed to be somebody in that bedroom, and now there could potentially be 2 people in this bedroom, okay, then for no reason passes up Dylan's bedroom the first time, then passes her bedroom up the second time when he came downstairs to then go down the hall to find Xana's bedroom. And neither one of those times does he try to go into or look into Dylan's room, right? Literally, you are wishful thinking, but that's fine. So goes down, he says then, and walks. So he says, based on the evidence, it says, based on the evidence, Xana was initially attacked just inside the bedroom near the entrance. Okay. Oh, by the way, there was a plate in Xana's room on the floor. A plate. Remember I said I want to have the pictures of Xana's room to see if there's any evidence that she ate her food in her bedroom, because that would make a big difference than if I don't eat food in my room because I don't eat food in bed, let's say I don't want crumbs or whatever, then she would have a way higher chance to be running into Bryan if she's eating in the kitchen or she's returning back to the kitchen to take her plate or something like that. But if there was evidence that she was eating, where she was eating at, but doesn't say anything like that. He just says, based on the evidence, comma, Xana was initially attacked just inside the bedroom near the entrance. Xana fought the suspect in the bedroom area and was ultimately killed on the floor of the bedroom next to the bed. Ethan, who we believe was asleep, was murdered in the bed. The way that somebody would be reading that is that he had a knockdown, drag out fight with Xana. And you would say, based on the evidence, well, so you're going to be able to tell me that the lab got back to you to tell you by 11/21 that, hey, the way that the transfer of the blood, okay, the way that the transferring of the blood from the knife, if you're stabbing this person first, you transfer, then that person's going to have their blood, so on and so forth, right? He wouldn't have had that information on 11/21. He writes this up, though, on 7/26/2023. So my question is, are you going off of the information that you had on 11/21, or are you going off of the information that you had on 7/26/2023? Next, he says, Kohberger left the bedroom area, walked back down the hallway, passed through the living room in the kitchen, and exited through the sliding glass door, leaving the door partly opened. Okay. Now, Dylan said that the reason she could not tell you if he shut the door or not is because she ran down the stairs. She's like, I don't know if he shut the door or not because I ran and I went downstairs. That is so important for this. That was said day one. Okay. Gilbertson would have known that day one because that's what she said. When she talked to Mowry and he came back in and asked her again about the dog barking. And he says, okay, well, because Dylan was very specific about, well, the dog was getting further away. And I think the dog went outside. And he's like, oh, when you did, he close the door behind, when he left? And she's like, I don't know because I ran down. Okay. Do you know that that's a huge fucking problem? Huge problem for your little timed run bullshit here. It's a huge problem because of these text messages. Also, the testimony, or I shouldn't say the testimony, but the statements were is that they heard the barking began basically when it started. The barking began when it started, according to Dylan. Dylan, who was awake, saving numbers at 3:51. Okay. Which even tells me more of the fact that if she was up saving numbers at 3:51, that she wasn't in her room and she would have known who, especially if she hadn't gone to bed yet. Why is your door closed? It wouldn't have been. I lived in a college house with 6 girls. I didn't shut my door on a Saturday night. Okay. Even if I was in there until I would have gone to bed. If I'm if I'm in and out of it and like we're all hanging out. Okay. I'm sorry, but that's logic. Especially when she's talking about knowing that because Kaylee was going to bed, she's going to bed. She makes that statement. Anyways, and you'd have to go just look at these text messages. And if she would have ran after seeing him, we know that the car that you guys want to put him in is leaving at 4:20 and 40 seconds. Well, that would mean that all of these text messages, every single one of them, are happening while she's downstairs next to the person that she's texting with. There's no doubt about it. She said that when he left, I don't know if he closed the door behind him because I ran downstairs. I went downstairs. And then the other time she said, I ran in my bedroom and I locked the door. Well, I'll tell you right now, you don't fuck that up. After you saw him, what did you do? Yeah, I ran downstairs because I know that the other times I was opening and closing and leaving. But like when I saw him, I ran downstairs. Like that's what she said. Okay. Well, according to then, you would have had to have seen him before 4:20. Can we all agree to that? If he's in the car leaving at 4:20, and you see him on the camera at 4:20 and 40 seconds, would you say that she would have had to have seen him before 4:20, or right there at 4:20? I mean, no way could she have seen him any later because he has to get into that car and drive away, right? Okay. So then again, Gilbertson, you would have had this information, right? And so you're going to sit here and tell me that were you truly trying to see if one person did this? Okay. Because what do you mean you're trying to see if it could be done and gather time of how long it could have possibly taken? Because you're trying to take this to the jury, right? Well, this is your biggest problem, is that the first call that Bethany makes, Bethany calls Dylan 4:19 and 33 seconds, and that is a 26-second phone call. And then 4:21 and 9 seconds, DM called Bethany 4:21 and 9 seconds. So she called her while she was in the room with her? And that would have been after he's gone by, 20. The car's gone by 20 seconds. We'll show you guys on the screen. The purpose of this exercise is to 100% show that they had a huge fucking problem on their hands. This timeline. Huge problem. Okay. Right here. So look at this. Let's see what makes a little bit more sense. Okay. I'm going to show you what makes a little bit more sense. And if I was Ann Taylor, this is how I would be defending Bryan Kohberger. Is that there is no phone activity from after 3:51 and 4 seconds when she saves a contact until 4:19 and 7 seconds. Okay? There's no phone activity by either one of these people, Dylan or Bethany. The phone activity begins at 4:19 and 7 seconds, which is BF calling DM. Oh, wait, that didn't share. Okay, there it goes. I'll make it bigger. BF, call DM, 4:19 and 7 seconds. That would be like when she's basically seeing him, right? I mean, or it's right what? She said, Bethany says that she heard a firework, kind of like something like that, and then a sparkler flash underneath her door. And then she also heard it sounded like, somebody bumped into the table and knocked chairs over. Okay. And, but she did not hear any screaming, none. That's exactly what she says in her interview at the police station with Blaker. And how I am adamant on all of my statements here today is because I was editing like a crazy person this part of my documentary today. I was editing like a crazy person this back and forth stuff right here. And so she specifically says Bethany did not hear any screaming, nothing. But she did hear this firework kind of sound. And then there was flashing light underneath her door. Okay. And she heard the dog bark. and she heard what she thought was like, somebody like, well, what she says is she thought like Ethan was up and cooking because he'll like come home and like, cook food and make noise and stuff like that. Um, and so that's what she thought. And then and that she basically went to sleep after she told, Dylan had called, or that she told her that she can come down in her room, just to come down and sleep down here. And then we shut the door and we locked it. And then, we just went to bed. Okay. Well, so also she said, Bethany said that she couldn't remember if Dylan had told her about seeing a person with a mask on the phone, or if she told her that in the bedroom. Okay. So, also, according to, I believe, the grand jury testimony that leaked, Bethany doesn't even remember the first call. So, if you look at that, that means the way that you would think it would go down is that Dylan would be calling Bethany to say, hey, I just saw a man in our house with a mask on, But here it's Bethany that's alerting Dylan to what she's hearing, okay? And how that went down is, did you just hear that like firework, bang, pop, whatever? Okay. And Dylan told the police, I didn't hear what Bethany heard. So think about it like this way. So if Dylan's just supposedly Dylan, but what you're hearing is people screaming and crying, right? Saying that there's somebody here and then there's crying. So, but in none of the text messages does she say that. She doesn't say, Kaylee said there was somebody here. I don't know, like Kaylee's like crying. I don't know what's going on. And we have no idea what truly took place on the 40-some second call that happens right down here at 41 seconds. But look at these timestamps. That call does not occur until 4:21 and 9 seconds, which is way after the fact of when she would have had to, or Dylan would have had to, if she, I didn't see if he closed that door or not because I ran downstairs. Okay. Well, guess when that would have been? That has to be this phone call here almost. And then you running downstairs. Because it can't be here because he's already gone. So you can't, everything that's going on after this point, this whole thing, like no one is answering. I'm really confused. Kaylee, what's going on? She texts Kaylee. Then she's like, yeah, dude, what the fuck? Xana was wearing all black. I'm freaking out right now. No, it's like ski mask almost. Shut the fuck up. Actually, like he had something over his, all this, Bethany, I'm not kidding. I'm so freaked out. How are they then telling you that they're not freaked out and that nothing happens in Moscow? So am I. Phone is going to die. Fuck. Come to my room. Run down here. Unanswered call. Then Bethany makes one. I'm so scared right now. It's better than being alone. So all of this, okay, is what you have to believe took place upstairs before she actually goes downstairs. But that's not the testimony at all. In fact, neither one of them talk about the fact that when they were interviewed the first time on day one, neither one of them talk about how they were texting back and forth during, like, hello, all you gotta do is sit them down and say, hey, we have these text messages. This is great. Okay, let's walk this through. When you were texting this, had you already seen him? When did you see him? Like, let's narrow this down. Let's get this timeline. Now, this is why they could never do that. Because if they wanted to ever either they thought that these people were involved, okay, or if we want to ever be able to use them in our case, we can't go discredit them because we're going to need them. Okay, it's that simple. But why is Detective Gilbertson over here on 11/21? Like, we need to do these test runs. You guys are over here thinking that it could have potentially been more than one person. And it says it when you're, by the way that you're interviewing Jack S. and Cole and all that shit. Okay. So what is really the purpose of doing this? What evidence are you going off of that? Hey, we need to see how quickly this can be done. Did it have anything to potentially do with the fact that on 11/21, was there any way that you potentially were thinking that that somebody like what dropped off the DoorDash and did all that stuff when the DoorDash was being dropped off, and then they left? Could that ever have been something? Was it more so that we actually peeked and looked at these text messages, and this is a problem? Because if she says that she ran straight downstairs, all these text messages come after that. So then she didn't run downstairs. So then she doesn't know if he closed the door or not. Oh yeah, because I just ran into the room. Well, isn't that what you would say? Well, do you know if he closed the door or not? No, I don't know because I ran downstairs. Like, you don't mess that up. I would say, I have no idea if he closed the door or not because I ran to my room and I then locked the door. I would never be saying, I have no idea if he closed the door or not because I ran downstairs. I'd be saying, I have no idea if he closed the door or not. All I know is I ran back into my room, I locked the door, and then that's when I start texting with Bethany. And I call her. Before all of that, I was yelling out. That's the other thing I don't understand. I'm yelling out and I'm texting. And that means that he would have heard me yelling out their names and texting them. So then let's look at that. Well, what time were you doing that at? Well, Kaylee, what's going on? A whole 2 minutes after the car is zooming away. When are you yelling? And she's saying that she's calling them and yelling out, and that the person is in that house when she's doing that. Well, there's a huge problem. Because why does Gilbertson have to make this fit in like a 2 to 3 minute window? If the dog just starts barking for the first time at 4:17, right? That's what it is. If the dog starts barking at 4:17, Gilbertson knows that anybody that's going to hear this story, why would the dog wait until after everything to start barking, but wouldn't be barking? And also you have the statement of a homegirl here. So we need to make this to see if this can happen between 4:17 and what time? 4:20. But then what about, how does it all work with Dylan then? Also, that would mean that when the person parked the car at 4:08, 4:07, then they just sat around between 4:07 in 417. ISP Detective Jeff Talbot and MPD Corporal Brett Payne assisted with the timed runs. Payne tracked the times for each run. Detective Talbot walked through the residence with me, calling out the number of strikes to stimulate the number of wounds to each victim based on autopsy reports. Well, that's interesting because Kaylee's sister today was talking about you can't go off of the wounds and thinking that certain things mean certain things. She made that comment today. And I'm like, exactly. Yet here we have detectives who are doing just that. And she was told that some of those wounds on her sister, that they were experimental wounds. What? He said, I conducted 2 timed runs, the first being a as quick as possible run, and the second a slower, deliberate timed run. Well, how many times had you been in the home prior to you doing these? So you're familiar with where you're going. During the first trial run, I began at the rear of the residence and came through the sliding glass door. I then quickly moved through the kitchen and up the stairs. What? I would be moving quickly and I would be making a lot of noise, right? Do you have a dog with you when you went upstairs? I looked into the bedroom to the left and then moved down the hallway and into Mogan's bedroom. I simulated the number of strikes that were inflicted upon Mogan and Gonsalves. Detective Talbot counted and kept track in an attempt to recreate the movements and motions believed to have occurred. What? Why weren't you wearing a body cam for this? What are you like? Can you imagine? I would love to see this timed experiment. Then he says, again, this is all based on the evidence. He said, Detective Talbot counted and kept track in an attempt to recreate the movements and motions believed to have occurred based on the evidence collected and autopsy reports. Dude, what do you have on 1121? What evidence? What evidence? What has been recreated? Where have you talked to an expert in? And then, I mean, okay. Then he said, I moved out of the bedroom, down the stairs, through the living room, down the hallway, and into Xana's room. Again, with the assistance of Detective Talbot, I simulated the number of strikes that were inflicted upon Xana and then Chapin. I then exited back down the hallway, through the living room, through the kitchen, and out the sliding glass door. Payne reported a time of approximately 1 minute and 30 seconds on the quick as possible timed run. On the second run, slower and more deliberate, I followed the same path through the residence, but at a much slower and methodical pace. I again entered through the rear sliding glass door, opening it slowly to make no noise while doing so. I then walked as quietly as I could through the kitchen and up the stairs. But that's not, I said that's opposite of what Dylan said. Attempting to make no noises. So you are totally disregarding what Dylan's saying that she heard. I looked into the first bedroom and then slowly moved down the hallway and into Maddie's bedroom. Detective Talbot counted and kept track again as I recreated the movements and motions believed to have occurred inside the bedroom. You guys only talked about this for at max, what, like a couple days to possibly recreate this? And with what evidence? I exited the bedroom, moved back down the stairs. Did you run? And were you like making a bunch of noise? Because that's what happened. Moved back down to the stairs, through the living room, down the hallway, and into Xana's bedroom. The movement to Xana's bedroom was slower than the first run. Why? That makes no sense, because that's not what, I mean, you're just totally disregarding your eyewitness's statement, right? Like, fuck anything that Dylan says. But we're just going to use her for the one piece. So again, I exited the bedroom, moved back down the stairs, through the living room, down the hallway into Xana's room. The movement to Xana's bedroom was slower than the first run, but still somewhat quick. I again simulated the movements and motions that took place in Xana's bedroom. I then exited back down the hallway. Well, what about what Bethany saw? We're not recreating any of that. We are just totally acting like that didn't occur. Okay. I then exited back down the hallway, through the living room, through the kitchen, and out the sliding glass door. Payne clocked me at 2 minutes and 33 seconds. So I rest my case here. He wanted to show that this could have happened between 2 minutes, or I'm sorry, 4:17 until 4:20, and up until like to be able to run into the, because listen to what he says now. He says, we additionally walked through simulated paths that Kohberger may have possibly taken from the vehicle to the back of the residence. The shortest and most direct path going from the parking area and moving east to west along the back of the house took approximately 30 seconds. And where are your feet stepping, by the way? Would it get in any of those paths that we're leaving and coming? A second path starting at the southern edge of the property and walking a fence line through some trees and moving in a south to north direction toward the back of the house took approximately 1 minute. The times to make the same two paths at a running pace were approximately 6 to 7 seconds for the short path and 10 to 12 seconds for the longer path. What? So did you wrap a knife? Did you change clothing? How was the blood of the knife not dripping everywhere? Did you put the knife in your pants? Did you put it in a book bag? You also understand that Scott Roeder came on here and he was amazing when he brought in some really amazing intel when he said, listen, whoever did this, cool, calm, and collected, because of nobody is rushing around with these droplets. It's the gravity droplets. Okay. This isn't, he was adamant on that. He was adamant about that. So he says that this would have taken then, the timed runs revealed that it was possible for Kohberger to have carried out the murders in as few as 2 minutes and 6 seconds. Once he got out of his car. Once he got out of his car and made way, if you go the fastest, 2 minutes and 6 seconds. Going at a fast pace on the shortest route to the vehicle, or as much as 3 minutes and 45 seconds, which is exactly what I said he wanted to get themselves in that time frame, which was from 4:17 until 4:20 and 42 seconds. Because they knew that everything else was so fucked. So the evidence that they were up against, let's not kid ourselves, it was all of this text messaging, all of this crap, and I think they knew other things. So 2 minutes and 6 seconds is this could have been done in 2 minutes and 6 seconds. That is from the time of getting out of the vehicle, running in and going as fast as possible, and then running out. And then 3 minutes and 45 seconds is the longest. I don't know. I don't know what to say about it, but I think this 1,000,000% proves to me that this was done on 11/21 because of everything that was in Dylan and Bethany's phones and their statements. Okay. And then I think after 11/21, maybe even whenever that last interview happened on like the 17th, you know, they got prints from Dylan and Bethany. Obviously, they got DNA as well, but they wanted prints from them. They wanted their fingerprints. Because there was because of Xana's door, which I thought was interesting. So, what do you guys think now after seeing these exhibits and what these wounds we're talking about and the pictures that were going to be used to show these wounds? What do you guys think? But here at the same time, they're thinking that two people, like they were looking into Jack Showalter and Cole, but yet they're trying to see how fast one person could do this. They were all over the place. And you know what? If it would be something that, hey, we're going down and checking off our checklist for everything, like, here, could this even be done? We're trying to give, okay, let's listen to what these girls have to say. But wouldn't you look at their phones and be like, oh my God, hey, these text messages exist. Hey, this is what these text messages say. How about Dylan calling up and after looking through her phone, or Bethany, and saying, hey, I've thought about this more. And we were texting and all of that, like, she wasn't in my room when we were texting. So, like, let's sit down and go through this. Hey, remember, pretty much, let's talk about what happened at 4 a.m. And see, that's a problem, though. That's a problem for the state because Bryan's not there at 4 a.m. The car isn't back yet. The car is still traveling, unless that car was a drop-off car and somebody was dropping people off. This is what didn't make sense to me, is why would it be so important to make it that those cars that were making those loops, that those had to be, him? Who cares if they are or they aren't? What's the car at 4:06, 4:05, whatever time it's coming back, and then leaving, the one that you think is leaving at 4:20 and 40 seconds at a fast rate? Now, so think about this. If you're on the jury, I know if I was on the jury, okay, and somebody's explaining to me this time frame, and then they're explaining this with these text messages and that they don't add up, okay, this is the state's version. And then I have the defense version that comes up and explains, well, listen, we have people's blood that's there. The state's not over here saying that Bryan did this with anybody, okay? And the state cannot explain why there's this unknown male DNA present in the mixture of the blood that's on the sheath, okay? They don't want to talk about that. They don't want to talk about the blood that's on a glove outside of the house. They don't want to talk about the blood that's underneath the railing and that actually is going down to the first level where Bethany says that she heard this what went on down there, which is what's exculpatory for him, okay, is that's nothing to do with the state's case. They don't even think that anything went on down there, nothing at the front door. Bethany over here, she's the one that alerts everybody to everything. She's the first person that makes the phone call. Her stuff becomes way more believable. Okay. And that something had happened down there, that she's seeing this flash, that she's hearing like a firework. And then somebody telling me that this could have been done. There's multiple weapons. And then you're going to talk to me about Keely's wounds. And then you're going to talk to me about skull fractures. And and then I started hearing that people were shady during this investigation. And then I have no idea how they ever got on to Bryan Kohberger, and I'm not even supposed to ask. I'm supposed to just listen to this jury tip that tells us this instruction, that tells us that just on December 19th, something happened for them to investigate this kid. And then after you arrest him, well, then I find out that you were lying about where his vehicle was at such and such time. I don't know how I feel about that. But then you tell me that you get into his apartment, you get into his house, you get into his social media accounts, you get into his car, and there's no fruits there on any of the search warrants, with the exception that you're going to tell me that he bought a K-bar knife before, and it's the same K-bar knife that's there on the scene. He has this white Elantra, okay, but then you're going to tell me that in order for it to be that white Elantra, I have to believe that the time of the crime happened at that time, beyond a reasonable doubt, okay. Then I'm going to think to myself, but you guys didn't care that Jack Showalter drove a black BMW, and you knew that as early as 11/21. I mean, you knew that he drove a black BMW out the gate, but I'm saying when you started honing in on this time, and then I have no idea while 911 wasn't called for 9 hours, and you're going to start showing me phone data of people walking around and moving around with their phones, I'm going to start hyperventilating, because I'm not going to know if they set up this kid or if he was involved. But I'm definitely going to think, oh my God, I can't believe that they think that only one person did this. And that, where are the other people? Who's the co-defendant? That's what's going to go through my mind. Also, if you're going to sit here and try to sell me on the fact that Dylan and Bethany made it seem like they went to sleep. And first of all, they just try to make it seem like, yeah, nothing happened. The girls came home and we all went to bed. Then we had to peel back the onion, and nothing strange happened until 4. Oh, okay. Well, what happened between the time of 2 to 4? Well, you made it seem, and you sold to the grand jury, that everybody was sleeping. And then you're going to tell me that nobody knows when Ethan and Xana came home, and that the dog was missing for a little bit, and that Jack, her boyfriend, was on a phone call for 17 minutes, and nobody knows what happened. No, he doesn't even know that he made that call or that they ever talked for 17 minutes. Then I'm even going to start wondering if Kaylee was even on that phone call. Okay. Then I'm going to start thinking about, okay, we have a DoorDash, and you start bringing up the fact that this DoorDash driver is sketch as fucking all get out, and that they are CIs, and that they are buying and selling drugs. Her group on Facebook with police. And then I'm still on this kick. Where's Xana and Ethan? Where are their phones? When did their phones stop moving? What time did they get back to the house? Do you want to know what this is all like? I Okay, so Amazon, he bought a knife. He bought a knife sheath. Okay, he only has 18 people's names in his phone. He calls them mother, father. He got a speeding ticket or got pulled over, didn't get a ticket, gave him like a seatbelt warning. Who knows? Whatever. You're telling me that he's been around the house 13 or 24 times, but then the defense comes back and says no, he wasn't by the house. He was hitting off that cell tower. That cell tower. If you hit off that cell tower, and if you're from that area, you know that, wow, okay, you could be over there. Yeah, wow. You could be shopping over there. Okay. And then you're going to show me that he normally would come in and he has all these receipts of the Walmart of going there all the time. Okay. He doesn't know any of these people. You're going to have girls come in and talk about how he hates gays, hates women, hates, thinks he's better than people. Then you're going to have potentially people come in and talk about that he's autistic and didn't know it and has OCD. I mean, I don't even know that's going to be admissible. Then you're going to tell me I'm supposed to think that this guy has bushy eyebrows. I'm going to think, ugh. I think what sticks out to me more than anything about Bryan Kohberger is he has the most disgusting teeth I've ever seen, next to maybe the glare. Mm. I'm here to help you. I find out that they're watching Vampire Diaries and that they say nothing happens in this town. It's the same catchphrase that nothing happens in Moscow. We weren't really scared. What are you talking about? These text messages make it seem like you're absolutely fucking horrified. But nobody calls anybody. Nobody calls the police. And I'm over here thinking to myself, if they fucking acquitted Karen Reed and her fucking taillight is just shattered across the fucking right where the dude, was found dead, right? And you're gonna have like Then I ask myself, okay, what do you mean the sheath has another person's DNA on it that's not this kid's? That's mixed in with the blood of the victims, and nobody cares about that. I care about that. I'm like, what the fuck? Then you might as well explain to me that, hey, well, have some of the roommates start testifying that, yeah, so-and-so was cheating on her boyfriend. And so there was a couple kids that were, they were hooking up. Or I knew that there was somebody coming. I never really asked. They were older. Like you're going to have to give a little here on that, like how that could be, because I don't know. She has a boyfriend. He lives in Boise. If they took his DNA, if it's not his, I don't know whose DNA would be mixed in with the blood on the sheath. And it's not his, the guy that's sitting in that chair. And I'm like, oh my God. And then it's like, they're not allowed to use touch DNA. They were going to be saying contact transfer. Okay. So I'm like, okay, if I'm sitting there, I'm like, all right, I know what that basically means. If you're back into a deliberating room, they're going to say, listen, they're going to ask questions like, it wasn't blood, right? No, it wasn't. You couldn't see it, right? Yeah, no, we could not see it. When you were swabbing, did you see anything? Your eyes, like, oh wait, look there's blood, there's dried, and it's red. That's why we were over here. When you were doing your swabs over here, you didn't see anything, did you? No. That's how I would be drilling it into the jury to say his DNA is DNA that secondary transfer and but it's all going to come down to is what if I think that this was done by multiple people, which I would if this was the case that was presented to me. I would think that I would not be sold beyond a reasonable doubt that this wasn't done by multiple people. But also I would be like, God, what's his DNA? How does this happen? Right. But then if we're supposed to be taking back our common sense back to that jury room and I was on the jury, this is the only thing I would be telling these jurors is listen, if we went off of touch DNA, JonBenet Ramsey's case would have been solved, but it would have been wrongful conviction because it was off of the guy that packaged the underwear because she put on the underwear after Christmas and never washed them. So that dude would have went to prison. Okay. But they're not giving us an example of why and how his DNA would be on there. But is that on the defense? I would be going, and these are the type of talks that I would be having with these jurors. And I'd be like, listen, I just can't say, I don't, where's the motive here? He just wanted to be a serial killer because he's criminology and he's obsessed with serial. Okay. Yeah. This is what I would say. Did he probably do it? Yeah, he probably did it, but that's not beyond a reasonable doubt. Did he probably do it? He probably did it. Is probably beyond a reasonable doubt. And they tell you that it's not. And so that's what I would be like, fuck, by the law, I got to say not guilty, but you're going to have people saying, well, if it wasn't him, then who was it? And it's like, well, if he didn't leave his DNA anywhere else and was able to do all of this, then I think that somebody could do all of this and not leave their DNA. Also, they showed us a picture of him the next day. He doesn't even have a blemish on him. I don't know. They're trying to say that everybody was sleeping. Look at all these movements that they have with their phones. Like they were just walking 2 seconds ago. I don't know. These are the things I'd be saying. And then I'm thinking to myself, how did this broad Dylan not get murdered? And then the 911 call. And then the icing on the cake is that you're going to sit here and tell me that there was a cleanup? Oh, fuck all. I'm going to be like, dude, I'm sorry. I want to give these grieving parents, like, I can't believe this. But I don't know. Do you go with a gut then? Think about if you were a juror. Nope, I think he did it. You think he did it? What do you mean you think? What does the evidence say? Can you imagine that if you're back there, though, if someone says, I think he did it, I think he's guilty. Well, then I'm gonna be like, why? And then if someone says, I think that he's innocent, I'm like, okay, why? Because I'm gonna say, you guys, I don't want to work with the words of innocent and guilty. I want to go with the words of did the state prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt? And for me, these are the questions I have. So maybe I missed something while I sat here for 3 months, but this is what I see, and I don't see it beyond a reasonable doubt. And I also then I haven't even talked about what Cy Ray is about to say, and Cy Ray is going to come in there and say that this is the data that they had. They should have known that based off of this data that he's all the way over here. And then I'm thinking to myself, well, God, then they saw this and just after they got the tip of his name, and they're like, oh, well, let's just fudge this and act like we don't see this. Like that's what I would be hearing if I was a juror. Do I get to hear that? I don't know how far it would have went, but obviously we don't get to hear the voir dire of Nick Balance. Okay. Fucking A, man. Right? Everybody thinks that it's just a slam dunk case, and I just personally believe that if it was, Thompson goes to trial. And I think that he did the right thing because obviously Bryan pled guilty, right? And we don't want killers rocking around because I think there's a chance that he would have walked. If he, like that's crazy. But let's see. Brutally be honest says, I've sat through many criminal trials and beyond a reasonable doubt, you would be like, fuck yeah, that dude is guilty. That's what you would say if you listened to the trial? Everyone before how about Proctor today? Prime example. If the Karen Reed case didn't teach anybody anything, or if it's going to teach somebody something, it'd be one thing, which is, you guys, I don't know when people started making it seem like cops are just these fucking exemplar fucking human beings. I'm sorry, but they sit down when they shit. They stand up when they pee. Girls sit down when they pee. They get divorced. They cheat. You're supposed to be, amazing human beings, character top notch. Well, guess what? That's not the case. And they choose their job every day over any of us. When push comes to shove with their job. But here, so Proctor, he withdrew today his little fucking appeal to get his job back. Why? Well, because he's a fucking moron. And somehow, some way, he thought he was deleting his text messages and he wasn't. And there's over 100,000 texts from 2013. They got into the iCloud. He's a fucking moron. But something that doesn't make sense is back when the FBI did it, they must have capped a year that they went back to. Because here they didn't for him. But I don't know. And I got to watch the body cams of watching these guys just trample all through. Then there's a knife there that wasn't there. I don't know. Proctor's a fucking idiot. Proctor. Don't get proctored. What a moron. All I know is if he was on my case, I'd be appealing. So moral of the story here is that it is 100% impossible, okay, that Gilbertson listened to anything other than Murphy the dog barking. Because all of this right here, she ran down. She didn't see if he walked out and closed the door. She ran down. Well, then she's having text messages with Bethany in the room right next to her. That's what was happening. The state doesn't want to talk about anything about health data. I've never heard of such a case where you have that the victims' phones are not used to somehow gauge, when they would have stopped X, Y, and Z. Yep. Hey, you think they went to bed? Okay. Yep. Because look, they haven't used their phones. Well, that's a pretty good indicator. She plugged her phone at this time. Molly. Moto, man, you should dress up as the lab report, not Bill. You don't have the beer for Santa. Oh, we're going straight Santa. Don't worry. Angel, what's up? Now check this out. Thank you so much, Super Sticker there. I went back through some pictures, and we're going to point out these panties. They did make it. Let's see. Okay, here it is. Oh, I think it's one before this. Hang tight. There we go. There she is. Look at that. Would you be damned? Would you be damned? There you go. They actually made the documentary. Unfucking believable. Oh dang. I mean, I'm guessing these are panties. I don't know. These are the only thing that one kid said he walked his dog and he saw a pair of panties and I thought he said like something to open up a bottle, but I don't know. He said 2 pairs of panties. Okay, and you want to know the only thing I could think of when I heard this is I gotta mention it. Do you guys remember back in March of 2022 when the girl was like, somebody got into my car and they got in my suitcase and they put my fucking underwear in the cup holder or some shit like that? Yes. Okay. Dude, what is wrong with Moscow? Also, I want to tell you this. Remember when the sororities and the fraternities or somebody out there was putting dead carcasses on like the porches of houses? Do you guys remember those stories at the beginning? I did a video on it, okay? Out of the blue, this guy that did the story originally, okay? He took down his video, okay? And I don't know if he waited so long because I did a story on it because I was like, yo, like look at this, whatever, like this is crazy. But he waited, and immediately after Bryan Kohberger took a plea deal, he freaking is like, you need to take down that video or I'm striking you or blah, 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 blah. I'm like, what video are you fucking talking about? Like, what video? Dude, I did that video fucking 3 years ago. I did that video in November. So 2.5, little over 2.5 years ago. He waited and waited and waited. He did not want it up about because I think I did like a couple. I mean, I still have the video. He was adamant about this freaking that I was like, you did the story. Wild shit. I was thinking about that the other day. Why does it matter? Really weird. He didn't want yeah, I'm gonna fucking strike you. Strike me for what? So I think it's strange. And I've been keeping my eye on that ranger. Who would wait 2.5 years? Why didn't you say something 2.5 years ago? How do you even remember that shit? Why do you even care? But yeah, did not want that video out there because he got rid of his. But if you ever because I can screen record it, I edit it, I have it, I have it. And if he deleted it, and there's no way that he could ever prove that it's his or whatever, he probably couldn't win. But he wouldn't win anyways, because if I'm doing commentary on something, it's fair use. I'm not over here claiming that it's mine. I'm over here claiming that this is the video that I made to show, holy shit, you know, it's not like Moscow's been some squeaky clean town and oh my God, like how could this happen here? Will you guys just like roll under the sheets, the true things that are going on there and make it seem like there's something else? I think there's a big drug problem there. I don't think that you go and get a canine unit because you guys don't have a drug problem. Can you guys see this? The question though is, can you hear it? So hang tight. Let's see. Hmm. You can see that. Let me see something. Okay, so it does show you. It just doesn't play the music. Hmm. It's interesting. What the fuck? Whoopsies. Damn. Oh, here it is. So I went back and checked for remember that welfare check or whatever. Well, the welfare check, it was a let me bring in Hector here. Fucking Hector. What are you doing? Get your ass up and grind. Okay. It was in the 500 block of University Avenue, and that is that fraternity. And it was a welfare call because an ISP and MPD responded. It was a frat mother called Moscow Police Department because her son mentioned that her son's friend, like his friend, was self-isolating. I have no idea, but it went under this case. because I was interested in it. Ooh. So last night I was up for fucking 3 hours. 3 hours longer than I wanted to be up because I was adamant that I was going to fucking find what I was looking for. Okay. Trust me, I know people are going to be writing in here. Oh, Pav did this, blah, blah, blah. And listen, this person that I'm looking for, okay, I think that this is an over redaction. I want to hear what you guys have to say. Okay. This was a report that was written by Gilbertson at the end. Okay. On 11/5/2024. Right. And it was due to Ann Taylor saying, hey, what did you follow up with that blah, blah, blah lead, yada, yada. And then they went and they did this. Okay. And it was about drugs. And it was about the house, something illegal being done at the house. All right. And so I can remind everybody that on October 29th, 2024, Idaho State Police Detective Darren Gilbert received a request from the Latah County Prosecutor's Office to follow up on a tip from blank, who stated he had information on the quadruple homicides that occurred in Moscow, Idaho on November 13th. But when did he say he had the information? Like, when did he come forward? This person is an Idaho State Correctional Institute inmate and was interviewed by the Federal Bureau of Investigations. FBI Special Agent O'Neill did that. This person made numerous claims during the interview about the circumstances surrounding the murders and who was involved. Well, I have a question. How did this interview ever come about? Right? How did this interview ever come about? Did the cops go to him? Did he go to the cops? Right? He stated that the house where the murders took place was a location where he provided quote unquote security to individuals. So my question is who are these individuals? Don't you think that the cops would ask, what do you mean you were providing security to individuals who delivered unknown items to the house? He stated he did not know what they were delivering, okay, but understood that they were doing what it was illegal. Blank referenced several individuals by nicknames, but did not know any full legal names. His main associates were blank and blank. On one of their trips, blank stated that they were leaving Lewiston and heading for Moscow when a car crash happened in front of them. He said that the driver was ejected from the car and the windshield, but survived. He said he stopped at the crash and waited for the police to arrive, spoke to them briefly, and then continued to Moscow. He stated this happened at 3 a.m., exactly 30 days before the murders. That's how you think he would have talked? This happened exactly 30 days. Okay. "30 days, damn it." The murders occurred on November 13th, 2022, which by his statement would mean that the accident occurred on October 13th, 2022. I searched ISP District 2 calls from this date. So look at how he's like, I searched ISP District 2. Well, that'd be like kind of like Jennifer Drake. Why don't you look up her 911 call in District 2 or District 1 or 3 or 5 or 6 or 7? You can look up in a million. You're never going to find Jennifer Drake's Kootenai County 911 call because it doesn't exist. So then how was it transferred, right? So this to me is absolute fucking dog shit. I don't care if you look this up. From the date and did not locate any crashes that matched his description. Do you guys see these words? Well, did you find any that just happened? Fuck his description. I then contacted the Nez Perce County Sheriff's Department and requested any that they check to see if the Sheriff's Department or Lewiston Police Department responded to any crashes on this date, which matched his description. They could find no record of the Sheriff's Department or LPD responding to a crash matching the description. I requested they expand the search to October 12th before. Oh my God, one day before, one day after. Woo! What an expansion. Now, is that not ridiculous? I said, hey, you can go ahead and expand it. Okay, the reason I want to talk about this is because let's talk about these people. Now, hear me out. If you were the defense attorney, right, wouldn't you, I don't know, make an appointment to talk to this person and see if they'll take, and you can go talk to them and send your investigator and go have, and go interview this person? Wouldn't you do that? Okay. So, I mean, you'd have to say yes, right? I mean, if they didn't, don't you know that'd be ineffective assistance of counsel by Ann Taylor? Hey, Patanti, I'm gonna need you to get down there and see if homeboy will interview with you. So if anybody out there thinks that no, this is the whole reason that they did this is because Ann Taylor said, hey, did you follow up on this? Like, and they didn't. So it's like, yes, of course, right? Okay, so then if you go and look at the new information that dropped, right? Meaning if you go over here to case of interest and you hit this, scroll down and we go to let's see. It was the list. These witnesses. Defense phase 1. Okay. Defendants phase 1. There we go. Oh, here we go. Did you guys know that this dropped today? The defense's phase 1. Lay witnesses. Let's talk about it. We'll come back to that in just a second. So I would think that, hey, here we go. Boom. Aaron Morris, Moscow Police Department. Adam. Again, they go with the first names. Andrew Fox. Andy Huddle. Yes, Ann Taylor. Andy, you're a piece of shit. This is amazing news. Oh boy. Ann Taylor coming with a 1-2 right there for me. Angela Alvarez. Ann Nord. She wasn't on the Idaho State Police's. Annette Murphy. Sure wasn't on the Idaho State Police. Sure wasn't. Can I get one of those thingies? Look at Dollinger. Yes! Because he totally got the glove. Yes! This is so great. Oh, thank you. Ava Wood making it. Okay, the reason that I'm getting so excited about this, is it showing on your guys' end? Okay, good. Okay. The reason I'm so excited about this is because let's see who she would have called, right? To see like if you can do what I'm about to say right here, which is, ooh, who's this? Bailey Dumpster. Bethany Funk makes the witness list. Oh, I don't think they were going to call Bethany on their side. That's why. Yes, Brady Walker. Right here, these two guys. Braden Powell and Braden Jensen. Okay, these two dudes right here. Were either one of these guys in jail? Because I have a list that who Batanti interviewed, and I find it so hard to believe that Ann Taylor wouldn't have gone and interviewed the dude that was in jail. And if you have watched and have looked, Ann Taylor never said that she went and interviewed Farley. Did she send Batanti to interview Farley? No, she didn't. Okay. I don't believe that it was Farley that coughed up this information. Okay. So, but she did have Batanti go, you guys know who Henry Clark is? Henry Clark is a fucking minor league baseball player out of Melba, Idaho. Okay. How the fuck is he on the witness list? How did his DNA, how would they even ask him for his DNA? What is this minor leaguer doing in this case? Nobody's asking about anything to do with this minor league baseball player. Henry Clark, pitcher, 6 foot motherfucking 5. 6'5". Brett Payne. Ooh, hot damn. That's what I like to see there. Get it, girl? Aunt Taylor's like, I got some questions for you. Kathy Mabut. Oh, there's Chris Engel. Told you guys. Where's Chris Engel? Always up to no good. Chris Engel. He is the Pullman guy with the connect with the cars. How are you not calling him if you're the state? He is so important. Okay? He is so important to this case. He's not even on the state's witness list. How is that possible? Well, Aunt Taylor's like, I have no idea how Chris Englewood, always up to no good, is not on the list. This is crazy. Okay. On the list, Chris Engel, okay? Payne is a lay witness for, yes, he's not. But let's call this minor league real quick. Yeah. This minor leaguer, I think, Cody. Corbin Smith, look at Corbin Smith, he was not on the state's list. It's because he took pictures. He took pictures of the sink. He took pictures of that backpack. Okay. Corbin was trampling through it all. Curtis Whitman. He's not on the state's witness list. Shit, Aunt Taylor's like, hold my fucking beer. Oh my God. Danny Vargas. Danny Vargas, how'd you come across any of these videos? I'm sorry, but this is cracking me up. Dude, all of these people should be on the state's witness list, and they ain't. Curtis Whitman. According to Hitler, Whitman and Daniel Tanego, they are part of the reason that a probable cause exists. Oops, hip. How did this not go to trial? Daniel Tanego. Ann Taylor, dude, you guys cannot sit here and say all these witnesses, she's absolutely nailing it. It's exactly what I'd be. Fuck yeah, we're going to have a field day with these people. Ann Taylor's probably over there like, Hitler, our case alone is going to be 2 months. Darren Gilbertson. DNA boy. Devery Duff. Blaker got so many questions for you. David Cortez. Good call. Good call. She's got some reports. Ooh. Uh-oh. Dylan Mortensen. They're going to have to recall because they're going to keep that scope so limited on direct with Bethany. And I don't even know if they'd be calling Bethany the state, but they would be keeping that scope so limited that Ann Taylor would probably have to recall them as her own witness. Well, what's up, Detective Mowry? Good to see you in here. What are you dressing up as Halloween? What are you going to be? You going to be Payne? Emily, Eric Seat, Eric Warner, Gail Collins, Gary Cooper. He's still alive, guys. Fuck yes. Gary Tolson, get his whole ass, Ann. But you weren't going to trial. That's just so bad. God, I would have loved to seen Gary Tolson have to get his asshole a little tight. Ooh. Jay Welch is now with the Coeur d'Alene Police Department? He was Moscow Boy. Now that's just interesting. Oh, good job with Jack Catlin because he didn't follow up on some. These are really good ones right here. Those are good ones. Ooh. Ooh. Jacob Tisdall. Yes. Straight fucking savage, Ann. Straight savage. What does he have to do with this? Oh, he has a lot to do with it. How many times were you looping around, you said? You said you outlined that loop, and it's this loop right here, right? Ann Taylor all day was going to say that that's that car. Ann Taylor's going to say that they were over there and that these are their cars, and you didn't leave when you said you left. Okay. When you left Banfield, it was this is crazy. I'm going to Nancy Grace all day. Wish me luck. There was never going to be a trial. Well, God, I guess not. I guess they just did all this work just to make all this money. This is what they do in Idaho. James Fry was not on the witness list for the state. Okay. James Miller. I love it. Jeff Manning. Huh. Jenna McClure. Yes, we're going to talk about who got into that car. We're going to talk about what y'all were doing on Saturday night. Oh, boy. Jordan Welch with the Latah County Sheriff's Office. See that? Did he just bounce around? Maybe that's a typo here. Jay Welch, Coeur d'Alene Police Department. Maybe it's his brother. Oh my God, Joseph. Oh, wow. Whoa. Wow. That's a surprise there. Interesting. Going to talk about Jack Showalter a little bit there, huh? Ooh. Yeah, Josie's on a vacation for. Ooh, Joseph Lake. He did all of the victimology. I think yes, right here. Justin would be Kai Davis, Carrie Hogan. Yep. Catherine Ramsland going to be on the list. Kyle Card. Interesting. That's going to be a big one. That's a big one right there. We're going to talk about how drunk people were. That's a big one. Lawrence Mowry. We're going to call Detective Mowry again. Leslie motherfucking Lehman. Yes, Ann. I knew you wouldn't let me down. Fuck yes. I said plow that ass. Plow it. So she's going to leave Kristen Noah alone, but she's going to go after Leslie Lehman. I love it. But there's no trial. God. What a travesty. What a travesty to see some of these people on the stand. It would have been glorious. It'd been really glorious for Dr. Moore. I wanted to hear Leslie Lehman talk. Let's not, Leslie Lehman, let's talk about how accurate you are. Damn it. Damn it. Leslie Lehman loves me. She's a huge fan of Lana. Huge Lana fan. Martha Smith. You guys know who Martha is, right? Ooh, Mateo. I love the name Mateo. This would have been absolutely like straight fire sack right here. God. Look at this last name. How many FBI agents are going to be on here? Martha Smith. Martha. Mason. Bagman. Bangman. Ooh. Mike Van. Oh, help us. Detective Van Leuven. Have you ever testified to any autopsy reports? Have you testified as an Emmy before? Well, actually, I have in a civil case for Jennifer Drake. You were asked about bagging hands and shit like that. Bagging and tagging. Oh my God. Nate Rosendahl makes a list. Oh, fuck yeah. Ann Taylor knew what she was doing. I mean, if these people weren't going to be on there, holy hell. Molly motherfucking McMichaels, come on down. Mitch. Ooh, Mitchie. Mike Van Leuven. They were on the other ones. Nate Rosendahl's awesome. She was on it then. Ooh, Quinn Kelly makes her list too. Fuck. Was it gonna get revealed that Dylan was a confidential informant and that she's been one out of Boise for a long time? Is that gonna come out? Richard Batanti. So you don't get these people twisted over here. You got Ryan O'Hara, and then you have Ryan O'Neill. Don't get it twisted. Ralph's over there like, I have no fucking clue what I'm here for, man. I don't even know nobody. What a name, Rachel Murdoch. Quinn Kelly. Peggy Gunn on the... Remember I told you guys what Peggy is? Peggy's a bartender. Wow. Ryan Snyder. Shane Gunners. Ooh, Simon Getty. Simon. Doesn't ring a bell to me. I'm going to have to look into that one. Good old Simon. Taylor Zerno. Tim D. Wolf. Ruff. Whose panties are out there, Tim? Don't you be lying. Oh, God. Where's Aaron Snell? Did he make the list? Oh, hell's bells. Oh, wow. This is your evidence locker room coordinator, dude. And he just, hey, so you left for work one day and everything went to shit, right? Came inside. There's a bunch of beeping in the morning. Yeah. There you go. Travis Shirley. Yeah, Ann. Get his whole ass. Oh, Tyler Barrett. That's spelled wrong. It's Berrett, I think. Oh my God. Tyler Moye makes it. Holy sack and balls. That's for the dog. That is for the dog. You know that he's not on the witness list for them. Vicky Gooch. Oh my God. On the witness list for Ann. Wasn't on the state's witness list. Holy whole shit. This is insanity. How do you not go to trial? You fucking would have... She would have made these police officers look silly. Mark says that Murphy barked 29 times during BF and DM's 26-second phone call at 4:19. Ooh, I love the stats, baby. Let's shake it. Where's my damn fucking bell? I'm going to do a goddamn mock trial. Fuck this. I want my own goddamn trial. The gooch. That's a very interesting stat there. You know what Dylan then said? I think Dylan went off hunting for the dog because Dylan said that I have no idea how the police found. Remember I told you guys that, how she talks about the dog? She talks about the dog like she went looking for the dog and she couldn't find the dog. So I will do a mock trial, but I'm going to play the prosecution so somebody can play the defense. That's the only way that you do it. You gotta. Oh boy, hot diggity dog. I'm just wow. What was that, Mark, at the 419 call? So they were on the. Was that the 21-second call? Is that the one? Let me scroll back up. Quinn K said he's never been to Moscow, but a longer August noise call had him, her following DM in through back door. What? I think that's kind of weird that if you're dating somebody and they never came to your college, like the first year and then like part of the second year, the beginning part of the second year, I think that that's like bad boyfriend material, but it's whatever. 26-second one. Hot damn dog. Why is Cy missing? He's not, because he's an expert witness. This is the lay witness list, guys. Lay. Yodelay. Hee-hoo. Hopefully that helps. Cy's on the expert witness list. This is the lay. Lay means like not expert. This is Tina with What the Fuck Transition Services. What the fuck, Bill Thompson? You were about to get rocked. Because Anne, like, we always question, like, does Anne know? Like, did she dig it? Dude, she's not putting these people on the witness list for nothing. Okay, she dug it. She was down with it. Okay. Tyler Moyer, I knew your family would be all this little quick little jab goes out to the mom of the Moyers. I told your ass your kids would be involved in this trial. Boom. Tisk tisk. You know who is there a whew, wait a second. Vicky Gooch, William Adams. Oh, this is the guy that is the correctional guy at PA. Who? Yes, dude, she was all about this woman. Ruth Ballard. Stephen Becker. I would love to know, who is Jennifer? Ooh, wait. There you go. Maybe she just decided to add everybody at the end here. These are all her probably out of abundance of caution, in case they don't take these people as experts, we're going to put them on our lay witness list. So out of abundance of caution, if you're not going to deem our people as experts, they can still testify. So here you go. You have Matthew. He is your crime scene reenactment specialist. He was out there day one. Cyray, there you go. Thomas Slavinsky, Brent Turvey, Barbara Wolf, Kathleen Bright Bryn Bum, Rachel Orr, or what, bitch? That'd been like if I was an athlete and my name was Rachel Orr, I'd have a sign that says, or what, bitch? Carol Pendon, Kevin Pendon. Wow, this was just like going to be like the trial of couples, man. Josiah Roloff. What a gem. God, I would have just loved to see these experts in their field shine. Both sides. Geary. Mr. Kohberger reserves the right to call witness witnesses to impeach or rebut the government's case. Furthermore, Mr. Kohberger reserves the right to amend this list as witnesses become known and to call as witnesses individuals who have been disclosed as potential witnesses by the state and any other person who were named by the state within the other discovery material. Within the other discovery materials. So interesting is that she's saying, now if we back this up, there was 138 people. If we go back to the J's, where is Jack Showalter? Is it under John? John. Woo! Look at that. Was that a typo? She wasn't going to call him? Where's Cole? That tells me that we got to do a little digging here. I mean, they were probably going to call him. Or she was going to bluff him. Bluffy Duff. Back it up. You guys want to see it one more time? Let me print this really quick. Need to get my print on. Wow. Ann Taylor. Not disappointing with that. Okay, states witness, states exhibit. No, I want to see the. Oh boy. Where is it? The defense turned over. I think it was defense. Fifth supplemental answer. It could have been the fourth. Let's check this out. No, it's not that one. Fuck. Mark just emailed me the dog specs. Let's take a look. Okay, BF to DM during the 26-second call, 29 barks. That would be during the attack. Then then 21 barks from 4:19 and 7 seconds to 4:19 and 31 seconds. Okay. I gotcha. Damn. 29 dog barks between or during the BF to DM 26-second call. Woo-wee. Holy shit. 1, 3, 5. Wow. Is a dog bark hearsay? Oh, for fuck's sake. Damn. Well, hold on. I have to show you. I'll find this one piece. I want to see who Batanti was like. These are the people I interviewed. And I have it right here. I'll pull it up. It was reciprocal discovery. Oh, wait, this might be it. No. Where's the exhibit? There it is. Got it. Okay. So Exhibit E is the defendant's fifth supplemental response to discovery under seal, which is the transcript obtained by the defense. And so it was Blaker's interviews with Funk, Chapin, and Wood. Then Professor Snyder, Flavio Alvarez, Nayang Ko, Aubrey Scott, Robert Eller. Who the fuck is Robert Eller, right? It's a really important name. And then you have Rich Batanti interviewed Ava Wood, Braden Powell, Brandon with a Y, like Braden and Braden, Jensen, Bethany Funk, and Kennedy Fitzgerald. And I'm telling you, there is no way, if I'm the defendant, I'm like, who's going to go interview that dude and find out what information? Because I'm sure that they just stopped asking pertinent questions to this person, you know? So out of this, it would, I believe it would be one of these people that Rich Batanti would go and so unless it didn't go some young ho. What? Jesus Christ. So let's pull this up for a second. I'll go back over these witnesses. We'll drum roll it again. Holy shit, Ann Taylor bringing the heat and then fucking bringing the plea deal. A dick sucking Donald? No. For who? A Donald McDonald? There's a Donald. I don't know. Donald. No, there's not a Donald on the list. No, fuck no. Who knows? Why? What do you want him to be? An expert? Oh, I know who you think is on there, but he ain't on there. Because he sucks. Sorry. Hold on a second. Let me pull this up. Here it is. Sorry, we're over here betting on who we think we're going to be the defendants. He wouldn't be called if it's who I think you're talking about for IGG. Because IGG's out. So that he wouldn't have been on. Okay. Take a look. Some young ho. Listen up. I think this is what we're looking at. Fuck, no, it's not. What the hell, Anna? Fuck America. Oh, yeah, there it is. Zoom in. Okay, here. Okay. Reciprocal discovery is saying, the state's asking, okay, who do you plan, like anybody that you plan on calling that we don't have this material, we need. So your reciprocal discovery here. And so I'm just amazed that Ann's like, well, the transcripts obtained by the defense, Bates, these pages. So she went and obtained the transcripts in written form from these interviews. So she's like, we're planning on using these interviews. We're planning on using Professor Snyder's interview. So we got it like Funk, Chapin, Wood. Then Professor Snyder, Anastasia Hurt Morin, Flavio, Na Young Ko. They must have interviewed twice. Look at that, those different times. 166, 160, Tabaho. Aubrey Scott, who are you? And then right here, Robert Eller. Robert Eller tells me that he was interviewed by well, I mean, did they interview a Chapin themselves? No, see Blaker's interviews. Those are Blaker's interviews. And then here's just a matter of, I know for a fact, okay, Rich Baton, that's his interview. So that's why I was like looking over here at the Braden Powell and the Braden Jensen, as in, are one of those people the people that are at the prison? So you're looking at Braden Jensen and Braden Powell, Pollow. That's just what makes sense to me. I'd be pissed if we didn't go interview this guy over here that's talking about he was delivering illegal substances, you know? I'd be pretty pissed. Leslie Lehman makes the list. The whole goddamn district over there. Bunch of fools. Damn. Thank you, Angel. $10 super sticker. Thank you, Angel. $10 super sticker. Thank you, Angel. $5 super sticker. Oh, shit. Oh, my God. Damn. His doll being on there. Woo, woo, woo. Wild shit right there. What do you guys think? What are your biggest surprises? Anybody like when you hear this, you're just like, fuck, I've been trying to get a hold of Molly. Molly needs to get a cell phone that works. No wonder why she ain't making them deals. Her cell phone must be broke. Yeah. Damn. Wow. Whew. Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. Very kind. Let's take a look one more time. God. James Fry. Come on down. Do you recall speaking at those press conferences? Okay. So were you being honest or like, ooh, let's go. That's not the one I want. Damn. Wait, right there. So you remember you said like nobody would. I don't believe I said that they were witnesses. So they weren't witnesses. Comes now, Bryan C. Kohberger by and through his attorney of record and will call the following witnesses at trial, although not necessarily in the same order as listed, and will call. Like there is no. They think they're going to be calling all these people. Yeah, I think that they were. Aaron Morris. I'll tell you. I'll go through this and tell you what I think that they would have been asking them. How about that? Just real quick. I'll have a field day with this. You guys can stick around or you can leave. Because I'd be doing it myself here. Okay, Aaron Morris. Aaron Morris was sent to go get he was sent over to 1112 King Road by, I want to say, Detective Mowry. And so there was going to be questions about that SD card to him. Adam, he was probably going to be asked, you were serving them drinks, probably the level of intoxication, how much would they normally have, stuff like that. And then, the what did you have a conversation with, Maddie or Kaylee, or did you know that she was leaving for Texas? They're going to try to find out what that information was about, that Adam crap. Andrew Fox. I'm going to come back to Andrew. Andy Huddle, what not to ask this guy, okay? Andy Huddle, you are horrible with your notes, with your reports. She is going to blast his ass, or was going to blast his ass about none of his reports were written on the day that they were supposed to be written on. He's writing down, though, that he did the reports on the wrong, like he's fucking up his whole report, okay? So we don't truly know when you wrote this because you filled out the date that you wrote it on the day that you said that you did it. Andy Huddle was interested in getting information from Pullman Police Department to do with the burglary. So Andy Huddle had straight contact with Pullman and with Chris Engel. And so that would have come out to talk about, they're trying to make it seem like there was nothing to see here with Pullman Police. Well, Ann Taylor was going to show that there was everything to see here with Pullman Police. Angela Alvarez, I don't know. Ann Nord, ISP lab chick, whatever lab report she did and had her hands in, obviously Ann was going to talk about. Annette Murphy with the FBI. I don't have the FBI reports. Anthony Dollinger, Moscow Police Department. I'd be asking him a lot of questions about what he was doing there when he arrived on scene. He was just standing around. What was his role? And I would just point out that he's just standing there. He did talk to Jeff and Jasmine at the scene and sent them on over, but he also transported a glove item. He filled out a form, his report, November 18th, and he wrote down things that that couldn't have possibly been transported to Idaho State Police Department in Meridian. So he has a big problem with his report on what he's talking about that he did on that day. Like big time problems. Carson, the best 28 months of my life. Oh God. Are you drinking? You want to do a shot? It's pertinent. It's pertinent. You want to do a shot, girl? You let me know. We'll do a shot. Thank you so much, Brooke. $3 super sticker. Woo woo. Best 28. Has it been that long, girl? I'm not. It just flies by. Dude, yeah, Dollinger, I would not have wanted to be in the seat where he was going to be. Ashley Swanson. Don't know, but I'm interested. You got me interested over here with Ashley, Ann. I just haven't seen this name pop up. Ava Wood, definitely going to talk about. You said you went outside to like give blankets or whatever, but they had blankets. I guess she provided more blankets, but you told the detectives that somebody had tried to break into your house, right? And they weren't concerned that you just had a break in October. Somebody was trying to break in. Like you told them that. Aiden McEntee, Ayden, Aiden McEntee. Circle. Bailey Dempster. Don't know. Bethany Funk. Oh. Again, if they were going to keep it really, really small, narrow, direct, that means Anne would have to recall her to ask her what she wants to ask her that would be outside the scope. So they're definitely going to talk about Bethany Funk and what happened with the fireworks. Okay. We're going to really get down this hole. The dog was missing. Okay. We're going to talk about the call that Maddie made to her. So she came down to your room. Was that before or after she called you at 2:53? And you guys had a conversation for 2.5 minutes. Do you recall what that conversation was about? No. Did anybody ever ask you what that call was about? You know? I think they're going to ask her what she was up to all morning. I think they're going to ask her if she really went to sleep. I think they're going to probably potentially show her her phone data if they're allowed to show her her steps. Did anybody ever talk to you about, your phone records or go through them with you? Probably what she testified at the grand jury about. About calling her dad. What I did see on here is that they don't have Bethany Funk's parents on here. So I don't think they're going to try to impeach her with like what she's saying the issue was. I don't know. Also, I noticed that Bethany's or Dylan's dad's not on here. Brent, right? Is that his name? Also, there is a chance, there is a small chance, I will say this, we always assumed it was DM and BM that had conversations and that there was stuff deleted. So if I go through here and look for any BMs, she could have had the name stored in it wrong, because if you went off a Cellbrite, it's going to be whatever the person's name is that you stored under, but the number would be there as well. So you'd always want to double check to make sure that the number matches the name. Brady Walker, Brandon Rowley. I'll tell you who's not on here. The Sheath transfers. Let me see. She probably figures that's going to be within the scope of what they're going to talk about. But let me see if they're on here. That Tupperware kid. I don't know. We'll see when they come to them. There's just so many. Braden Powell, Braden Jensen. I'm telling you, something's interesting with those two kids. They were interviewed by her people. The Braden and the... So look into those people if you... Fiddlesticks. No Enan. No Enan Harsh. Enon, what the fuck? Brett Payne. Chris Engel. I love it. You know what I can't believe is why isn't Love on here? Why isn't Love? Love isn't on here. She's going to get enough out of it with Chris Engel. That means that there's going to be something coming up with those reports, the discovery. Chris Engel is everything. Chris Engel had and was sending Blaker like literally every single day. Here are these vehicles. Here are these white Elantras that we're sending on over. So, God, what a mess. God, Ann could ask these people so many things that, like, what type of conversation? Oh, where's Gary Jenkins? Gary Jenkins didn't make the list, Ann? I'm kind of shocked about that, Ann. I don't want ham on him. I would have fucking brought James Patterson in this motherfucker. Let's talk about your book, bro. Who's your source? Where are we at over here? Casey Macy. She's part of the evidence. Kathy Mabutt. Oh, God. Yeah, Chris Engel. Wow. Curtis Whitman. So you didn't find the car, right? And you never called in, and they never interviewed you. There's no reports. We don't have any reports. Nobody ever interviewed you. None of the police ever interviewed you because you'd be like a witness. So there's no reports of nobody called, like, this would be important. Like the Curtis Whitmans and the Daniel Tenegos of the world. How did you get your tip in? What are you talking about? We didn't call the tip line. We wrote our stupid little Excel spreadsheet and we gave it to Chris Engel, our supervisor. Oh, okay. So you didn't call the tip line? No. Detective Payne never talked to you? No, he didn't. He never interviewed you? No. Do you know that you were featured in the probable cause evidence that you found the car? Excuse me? Yeah, there's a bunch of write-ups about you and your friend Daniel Tanego. Yeah, there's like back-to-back pictures of you guys. You know, and how you guys basically, I mean, you guys were used to obtain probable cause. You said that you found the car on December or November 29th. By God. Never interviewed, though. Now, when you saw that car, did it have a black, like, bug guard on it? Did you take pictures of it? I'd be just having a field day. So after that, you got Dane Carroll. Where are any of the Pennsylvania people? Wait. We're going to call Nicholas Balance. Nicholas Balance. Where's Ed Jacobson? Get his ass on the stand. I think she said, though, you know, we reserve the right to anybody who's on your list. Darren Gilbertson. Let's talk about your timed run. David Cortez. Here, let's look at this. If you want to compare something. Look who's not on, let's see, which one is it? Oh boy, this one. Okay, what does it say here? It is states that live for, nope. No. Maybe this one. Fuck. No. Exhibits. It is. There we go. Okay. So Ann Taylor does not have on the list Mason Barstow, but he is on the list for this. He was for the state. Reed Upmore was not on either list. Donald McDonald. Kenneth Anderson. See right here. Henry Clark. Not on Ann's list. Courage not on there. Derek is, though. Yeah. Cole nor John Showalter are on her list. So Ronald McDonald, come on down. All right, I'm gonna go look some of these people up so I can report some factual shit to you guys. God, what a disappointment. I think that plea deals hide the problem. And in this case, there's a lot of problems. And with that, everybody have a blessed night. I'm going to go bless myself. Blessed. Bluebird giving out 5 memberships. Thank you so much. You guys rock. On your way out, thumbs it up, thumbs it down. You have an opinion. 980 of you guys stuck around for most of it. So also use the comment section of the video. If you can add to the conversation, we appreciate it. All right, guys. See you on the next one.